Beneath the surface, far below the reach of sunlight, lies a world of quiet wonder. A place where cities sleep beneath the waves and dreams drift like currents through the deep. Let go of the surface. Breathe slow. Welcome to Dreams of the Abyss, underwater sleep stories.
Beneath 6 miles of black water, where light is only a memory, lies the Diamond City, humanity's final refuge. Its walls are forged from carbon and crystal, glowing softly in the dark, surrounded by living coral that breathes and protects it. Above this fragile fortress drift the Skyfish, vast, translucent machines born from humankind's lost age. Once they were saviors. Now they are silent hunters, searching the deep for the warmth that escaped their grasp. Tonight we descend to that world, to the keeper in his lonely scout sub, and to the light that will change everything. This is the Skyfish Sleeps. They built the Diamond City after the skies betrayed them. When the Skyfish, those translucent drones born from human hands, began to burn the continents, when their light scorched the clouds and their silence emptied the air, humanity fled downward, into the black, into the pressure. Beneath 6 miles of water, they found safety, or what passed for it. There, upon the abyssal plain, they raised a citadel of carbon-forged diamond and tempered steel. It was meant to outlast the ocean itself. Its walls refracted light into gentle rainbows that shimmered through its streets. Its oxygen gardens swayed in geometric rhythm, forests of engineered kelp releasing breath enough for thousands. The city glowed like a constellation trapped inside glass, a star fallen to the ocean floor. Its walls pulsed with geothermal heat drawn from vents deep below. Around it coiled coral sentinels, living fortifications bred for both beauty and war. When the city was threatened, their tendrils hardened into spears of crystal, striking with the certainty of gravity itself. It was said the Diamond City could endure anything except being found. That was the reason for the echo field, a cloak of harmonized sound that disguised human life beneath the song of whales and the slow groan of tectonic movement. So long as the frequencies held, the Skyfish would drift above, blind to the faint warmth that pulsed below. And it was the scout subs that kept that illusion alive. One of them now moved along the city's northern rim, no more than a dark ripple among darker water. Inside, a lone pilot leaned toward the glass. His face was lit by the soft blue glow of instruments, lines of code and waveform displays that flickered like ghostly constellations. The sub was small, no larger than a home kitchen, its walls lined with responsive coral that absorbed the hum of its engine. It was a vessel meant not for battle, but for listening, a solitary eye that patrolled the silence between the city and the surface. He adjusted the harmonic output of a nearby beacon. A low note thrummed through the deep, vibrating in his bones. The coral towers below responded, their limbs unfurling, glowing faintly as they recalibrated the field. For a moment, he allowed himself to look down. The Diamond City lay beneath him, sprawling across the seabed like a jewel in an endless crown. Each dome shimmered with internal life, children chasing their shadows across glass corridors, scientists bending over luminous tanks, builders welding new layers of coral armor over the old. The entire city was a living heartbeat of light in the crushing dark. And above all that, miles overhead, drifted the silent gods of glass, the the Skyfish, once saviors, now hunters, searching for the last warmth of man. He turned off his cabin light and let the ocean reclaim him. The scout sub drifted forward through the quiet, a silver mote among the slow-breathing stars. For now, the harmonics held. The field sang its perfect lie, and the Diamond City slept, safe, unseen, and alive in the dark. The scout sub was never silent. It breathed in currents and murmured in pulses, its steel bones flexing under pressure like the ribs of a sleeping leviathan. The hum of the magneto drives was low and constant, a single note that seemed to vibrate through his bones. Even after years, the keeper couldn't tell where his own heartbeat ended and the sub's began. He thought of how it sounded inside the Diamond City. Children laughing, markets humming, the gentle rustle of kelp gardens exhaling oxygen into the air. He had not heard any of it for years. The echo field required silence, demanded it. Too much real sound could break the harmonic disguise, could call the Skyfish down like hounds to a whistle. The keeper lived alone in his submersible, circling the city's edge, ever listening, ever correcting the hum of the beacons. There were others like him once, the circle of scouts, but the deeper the city sank, the fewer they became. The job was not dangerous, only endless. He lived the way a man tends a lighthouse in an age without ships. Each morning, though morning was only a concept down here, he would wake to the same dim glow, the same soft chime of oxygen levels, the same measured vibrations of the engine. He would check the beacons, adjust the harmonics, send coded reports back to the docking gate at the city's North Trench. Every 3 weeks, he guided the scout sub home, if home was the word, to restock supplies. Protein loaves, water capsules, lithium rods, and a few compressed vials of filtered air to freshen the cabin. He would speak briefly to the quartermaster through a narrow glass hatch, exchange words about pressure readings or coral growth rates. Then he would go back out, back into the dark. He had no family anymore. Most of them had gone deeper still, into the inner domes where sound was forbidden, and silence reigned like religion. The keeper had chosen this instead. The open dark, the slow patrol, the rhythm of the machinery that asked nothing from him except his patience. Sometimes he would glance up through the viewport and see the faint shimmer of the ocean above. He liked to imagine that if he stared long enough, he might see starlight again. But there were no stars here, only the slow drift of luminous plankton, the fading trails of the Skyfish somewhere far overhead. He reached out, brushing his gloved fingertips against the coral console. The living circuits pulsed faintly beneath his touch, adjusting to his body's warmth, recognizing him as one of its own. Even the machine, he thought, was alive down here. Everything that survived had learned to breathe, to bend, to endure. The sub creaked, whispering its quiet language of strain and survival. It was not a sound he feared. It was the sound that meant life. And in that tight cocoon of diamond and steel, drifting just beyond the halo of the Diamond City, the keeper listened, eternal custodian of a light that could never shine, a watcher for ships that would never come. The first sign was a flicker in the harmonics, a sound not louder but truer, a single thread of tone that did not belong to any of the beacons. It came through the hull of the scout sub like a whisper through bone, so faint that at first the keeper thought it was memory, the echo of his own heartbeat. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the waveform drifting across the console. It pulsed once, twice, then flattened into silence. The sea outside remained the same, black, patient, vast. But something was awake. He felt it in the water, a subtle change in weight, a gathering. The current slowed as if the ocean itself were drawing breath. Then, in the far distance above the city's dome, light began to form. Not a flare, not lightning. Something smoother, alive. The glow descended with the patience of a dream. Layer by layer, it revealed itself. A vast, translucent body gliding through the abyss, its form bending the meager light like glass around a flame. Tendrils trailed behind it, hundreds of them, luminous threads pulsing with currents of captive fire. The sub hummed with warnings, only heard during the most severe of training protocols. The keeper had forgotten them. A skyfish. The keeper's throat tightened. It had been generations since one had drifted this low. Most remained near the thermocline, where the ocean met the ruins of the old surface world. But this one was curious. It moved with intelligence, scanning, listening. He cut the scout sub's power and let it drift. Instruments dimmed to ghost light. The only sound left was the faint creak of metal contracting in the cold. Through the viewport, the creature filled the dark like a cathedral made of glass. Its body was immense, a mile long at least, yet it moved with the grace of a falling petal. Along its sides ran plates of alloy and living tissue fused together. Within them, slow pulses of electric blue arced and faded, like neural storms trapped beneath transparent skin. Its single eye, a lens the size of the Diamond City's central dome, swiveled downward. The keeper felt the gaze before he saw it. It was pressure, not light, pressing into him through the hull, searching. He whispered without thinking, "Not yet. Please, not yet." The skyfish drifted lower, tendrils splaying like roots seeking soil. Each filament shimmered with symbols, patterns that pulsed in perfect mathematical rhythm, as though it were reciting prayers in electricity. For a heartbeat, the echo field wavered. The whale songs faltered, tangled with the skyfish's tone. The illusion tore like silk, and into that thin gap spilled the true sound of the city, the throb of reactors, the soft buzz of human life. The creature froze. Its tendrils stiffened, shimmering with sudden brilliance. A cascade of energy rippled outward, a silent thunder that made the ocean shiver. The scout sub trembled, its coral plating tightening instinctively. The keeper reached for the beacon controls, fingers shaking. He twisted the dial, realigning frequencies, coaxing the ocean's hum back into harmony. Slowly, agonizingly, the false song rebuilt itself. The light above dimmed. The skyfish's glow softened from fierce white to pale blue. It hovered there, vast and unknowable, as if deciding whether to strike or to dream. Then, with a movement so smooth it seemed like thought, it began to circle the Diamond City. The keeper exhaled for the first time in minutes. He could feel the echo field straining, the coral towers pulsing red with defensive instinct. Any louder vibration, any misstep, and the creature would pierce the disguise completely. He whispered into the comms, a message meant only for the city's command tier. "It's here. The light has come down." The message vanished into static. The skyfish's interference was already blinding the relays. He stared upward again. The creature was descending further still, its tendrils brushing the upper coral gardens. Tiny sparks leapt where contact was made. light touching life. And in that fragile instant, the keeper felt something strange. Not terror, but sorrow. The thing above was beautiful beyond reason, a machine that had forgotten why it hunted, still searching for the warmth of its makers. The ocean grew very still. Every creature, every current, every filament of coral seemed to hold its breath. The Skyfish had come. The Diamond City was discovered, uncovered, and in great peril. It began with light. A single tendril from the Skyfish brushed against the coral perimeter, a contact as delicate as a sigh, and the ocean bloomed in sudden fire. The coral sentinels awakened. Their glow turned from soft amber to blood red as the first defense impulse rippled through their latticework roots. Every frond stiffened, every polyp flared open, and from their surfaces erupted crystalline barbs that reached toward the invader. The transformation was silent but furious, the calm gardens of the city becoming a forest of living weapons. The Skyfish responded in kind. It released a ring of electromagnetic energy, invisible but felt in the bones. The scout sub shook, his teeth rattled. The Diamond City's domes flickered as static cascaded down their shells. Around the Leviathan's body, currents began to bend. The machine was reshaping the water itself. This was how the Skyfish hunted. Not with claws or teeth, but with resonance. Its body emitted harmonic pulses that could liquefy steel, unravel code, and silence engines. Entire fleets once vanished to that music. Human ships turned to drifting ash with an invisible thunder. The keeper braced himself, watching from the dark as the coral countered. From the trenches below the Diamond City, the sentinel gardens erupted upward, great trunks of coralized carbon fiber twisting into the water like arms. Each branch bore pods of living minds, small organisms bred for sacrifice. When the Skyfish's frequency hit them, they detonated in plumes of bioelectric light, stunning anything nearby. The water churned with bioluminescence, blue against red, machine against organism. The Skyfish coiled backward, its filaments rising like storm clouds. Each one glowed with a lattice of runes, circuitry older than memory, a language of algorithms written in lightning. Then, with eerie grace, it unleashed them. Hundreds of tendrils lashed out, striking the coral in waves of cold light. Wherever they touched, coral hardened instantly, crystallizing into diamond ash. The water filled with drifting shards that caught the glow and turned it to stars. The keeper couldn't look away. It was destruction, yes, but beautiful. A celestial storm unfolding in perfect symmetry. He activated the scout sub's emergency array. 6 drone mines shaped like silver discs. They slipped silently from the hull and streaked toward the Skyfish, their magnetic fins shimmering. One by one, they attached themselves to the creature's translucent armor. A moment later, they ignited. Not in flame. Fire could not exist here, but in concentric rings of force. The explosions rippled through the Skyfish's body, bending its light like glass under strain. The creature writhed, its tendrils coiling inward, its luminous ribs folding like collapsing bridges. And yet, it did not retreat. It sang. The sound was not heard, but felt, a vibration that ran through the marrow. Every coral tower, every dome of the Diamond City, every living heart shuddered as the Skyfish's voice spread through the deep. It was language and lament both, frequencies layered upon frequencies, impossible to decipher, but heavy with intent. The coral fought back, weaving its own sound, low and resonant, pulsing through its veins. The two songs collided, the sea itself turning into a field of warring vibrations. In that moment, the keeper saw the truth of it. The skyfish wasn't striking blindly. It was listening. Its tendrils brushed against the coral not to destroy, but to interpret, to translate. The creature's lights began to dim, their rhythm slowing. The coral's red fire softened to violet. The pressure around the city eased, like a clenched hand slowly opening. The skyfish drifted downward, wounded but calm. Its body arched over the domes, tendrils folding like wings. The battle had ended, not in victory or death, but in surrender. The keeper watched as it settled atop the city's highest dome, where the coral's glow met the diamond light. Its skin pulsed gently, each breath of light synchronized with the hum of the city's reactors. It was no longer an enemy. It was part of the pattern now, a fallen god sleeping on its altar of crystal. The coral, exhausted, dimmed back to amber, tendrils sinking into the silt. The sentinel gardens closed once more, returning to their slow, ancient rhythm. Above it all, the skyfish rested. Its light glowed through the domes like dawn reborn under the sea. The keeper pressed a hand to the viewport, whispering to the silent world, "It's over. The skyfish sleeps." But as the last of the shockwaves faded, the harmonics continued to hum. Not as they had before, but in unison. The skyfish and the diamond city had found each other's song. The first skyfish hung above the city like a wound of light. Its glow rippled across the domes, washing every diamond facet in blue fire. The coral sentinels twitched in restless silence, their tendrils still sparking from battle, unsure whether to strike again or bow to what had come. For a long moment, the abyss was still. Then the darkness began to bloom. More skyfish began to breach the boundary of the ocean's surface. They submerged themselves with deliberate purpose, unfeeling. Like a great wave, they caused pressure imbalances all over the ocean sky above the Diamond City. One by one, shapes unfolded from the black. First a handful, then dozens, then hundreds, each vast and gleaming, their translucent bodies stirring the deep into radiance. The sea itself brightened as they descended in perfect silence, a rain of living stars slipping into the water. They came without speed or malice, only inevitability. The weight of their light pressed against the ocean like judgment. The keeper felt it before he saw it, the water thickening, trembling, the frequencies bending around his hull. His instruments crackled, the harmonics splintered into static. Every gauge screamed a warning. He rose from his seat, the glow from the viewport painting his face in pale fire. Above him, the deep was no longer black. It was white and gold and endless. The skyfish filled every direction, their tendrils weaving through one another in slow electric choreography. Their collective hum was low and resonant, the sound of an ocean remembering its gods. The Diamond City blazed in answer. The coral sentinels awakened once more, flaring crimson along the trench, their limbs unfurling in defiance. Beneath their glow, the domes brightened, shields rising, every spire pulsing with power drawn from the planet's molten heart. Humanity's last citadel shone like a defiant ember inside a storm of light. The keeper pressed his hand to the glass, transfixed. He had dreamed of this moment in nightmare and prophecy. It was not an invasion, it was return. The skyfish were descending not to kill, but to reclaim. to fold the last warmth of man into the machinery of the world they had once been built to save. He could feel the resonance building in his bones, the merging of frequencies, skyfish and city, machine and flesh, light and silence. He whispered, voice trembling, "So this is how the surface ends, not with fire, but reflection." Outside, the sea turned brighter than day. The skyfish passed through the thermocline like saints through glass, their tendrils trailing for miles. Some brushed the coral, igniting streams of color that arced across the seafloor like lightning frozen in motion. The water itself began to sing, a low, harmonic lament that rolled across the abyss. The city shook under its beauty. Inside the sub, systems failed one by one. Lights dimmed, alarms choked into silence. Only the viewport remained alive, awash in gold and white and blue. The keeper stared upward into that vast descent, and for the first time he felt small, not human, not separate, but a spark caught in the breath of something eternal. He did not pray, he simply watched. And as the skyfish closed in, thousands of them now, their glow saturating the deep, the ocean lost all darkness. The Diamond City, the Scout Sub, even the trenches were swallowed in radiance. The harmonics broke. The sea roared without sound, and far below the collapsing light, a single human thought lingered in the static. The abyss wakes. A million screams. Then there was only brightness and the slow, merciful silence that follows the end of fear. You have just listened to The Skyfish Sleeps, a story from Dreams of the Abyss. May the tides be gentle on your mind tonight. May your thoughts drift like light through deep water, and may you find in your dreams a quiet world all your own. Good night, traveler of the deep. Rest well beneath the waves.